Morning, everybody. My name is William Tingle. I am your instructor for REI USA on the topics of subject to and creative finance investing. I'd like to welcome everyone here today. We're going to spend a few minutes this morning talking to sellers. That seems to be a big problem for a lot of new investors. So we're going to go over some tips and some things to help you with that. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen here and show you guys a couple of things. Okay, so again, the topic is talking to sellers, how to get over the fear and start buying houses. I'm sure some of you here are new getting started, some are maybe experienced investors, but it seems to be a common problem with investors. How to talk to sellers, how to get over that fear of actually just having a conversation. And really, I guess with public speaking being the number one fear in the world, according to most people, that could be the problem. But just remember, a lot of what we do is trying to solve sellers' problems, trying to help them with what they've got going on. So if you really just go in with that thought that you're there to help, you're there to assist them, it'll make things a whole lot easier. So let's go ahead and get started here. First of all, who is William? Well, if you're new here, if you haven't talked to me before or seen me here at REI USA or on Facebook or anywhere else, I'll tell you just a little bit about me. I worked in the restaurant industry for over 20 years. If any of you guys have ever done that, worked at McDonald's, any of those things, you know that that's a pretty tough job. I'd been doing it for over 20 years, was really tired of working 60, 70 plus hours a week and was looking for something a little bit different. And like a lot of people getting started back then, I ordered a Carlton Sheets course. Now, some of you newer investors may not remember Carlton Sheets, but for a long time, he was the king of late night TV. Those infomercials, for $200 or $300 for the course. He would teach you how to buy houses. And I had watched that millions of times, literally. But this one night, it was 2:00 in the morning. I was just really frustrated with my job and with my life. And I just decided to order it at that time. That was in July of 1999. Now, in August of 1999, I bought my first investment property. You may notice that's only 30 days later. Well, how did that happen? We're talking about conversations with sellers today, but the inaction of a lot of investors is really what keeps them from buying houses. And that's really a topic for another day, but I'll tell you, when the course came, I remember the day UPS brought it. I opened it up, started reading, and just decided I hated my present life enough to actually try some of the things that were in that course. So I did it and started buying houses. And I think you'll find that if you really just take action, that you'll be successful. That's really 90% of being successful in this business. Now, one of the things that I did after I bought my first 3 or 4 houses was I decided that I wanted my goal to be to leave my job in 12 months. And sure enough, 12 months from the time that I bought my first investment property, I was able to leave my job and become a full-time investor. And that was 22 years ago, this coming August. And I haven't had a job since. Since then, we bought over 500 properties subject to, and over 600 total deals. We've done some wholesale stuff, bought some things for cash, done some rehabs, done a little bit of everything out there, but subject to is, of course, our favorite. I want to share with you guys some free resources that you can use that may be helpful to you. First is our website, sub2deals.com. We have a ton of free things there, a lot of free resources, links to articles that can help you, that can tell you how to do anything from generate leads, buy houses remotely, how to talk to sellers, how to negotiate deals, just a ton of articles. Also, links to products that can be helpful to you in your business, whether it's cold calling, lead generation, things to places to hire VAs, all of those things. We've got links to just a whole bunch of stuff there. So go check that out. Sub 2 Cool Stuff is our website where we have, I believe it's 14 free tools that you can get to help you in your business. Anything from mortgage amortization calculators, books, ebooks on negotiation, an actual real estate investor's business plan, a 90-day quick start guide, just a ton of stuff there. Just go to sub2coolstuff.com and you can download all of those absolutely free. We also have a YouTube channel where we release podcasts, our weekly Facebook Live, Ask the Goat tips, just all kind of helpful stuff there on real estate investing. Go to sub2deals.com/YouTube. Subscribe to our channel and don't miss any of those. And then also our Sub 2 podcast, where we talk about all things subject to and creative finance. We have guests from time to time that share their experiences with things like hiring VAs, creating notes, all types of helpful things for real estate investors. And I think you'll really enjoy that. All of these things are absolutely free. Go take a look and get those. So why are investors afraid to talk to sellers? Well, I did a survey recently in one of our small coaching group and asked, what is keeping you from talking to sellers if you're afraid to do that? And we've got a variety of responses to that. And we had a couple that said, listen, I'm just too shy to really talk to anybody. Then we had several that were afraid of the paperwork involved. They weren't sure that if they got in front of a seller who was willing to do something, they wouldn't know how to complete the paperwork to get it done. Other responses, well, I'm afraid the seller will be mean to me or cuss me out or call me names and that sort of thing. Afraid of making a bad deal was another response. We had a response that said, well, I'm just sabotaging my own success. So they're just throwing obstacles in their own way, maybe because they feel like they aren't worthy of being successful, or they're not good enough to achieve success, or they deserve what they have right now and not more. And that's more of a mindset thing, something that you're going to have to get over, thinking that you're not good enough to be successful. But I'll tell you, everyone out there listening to this right now can be successful. You just have to take a few steps to get there. We even had one response that said, I'm just too lazy and afraid of work. Well, if that's your problem, then I don't know, maybe you're going to have to hire people to do all of these jobs for you. I know investors who do very little. They've gotten to the point in their careers where they hire acquisitionists, they hire people to dispose of the property, they hire people to market for them, and they really just do very little. And can you do that? Well, sure you can, but I guess it depends on what kind of business you want to have. If you want to buy 100 or 500 houses a year, then you can certainly do things like that. But we teach a much smaller approach that's simple, that just about anybody can do. That's called the 12 Houses Blueprint. And that's one of the classes that we actually teach here. So if you haven't seen that yet, come back another Saturday and we'll talk about that, or you can watch some of the recordings. But you can buy just one house a month and be very successful in the business. But by far the biggest reason that most of the people, almost 50% of the people in this poll stated as to why they're afraid to talk to sellers, is that they don't know enough to answer the seller's questions. Well, that's really an educational issue. You're afraid you can't answer their question. The questions will be too hard for you. You don't know what to do. Does that have to be a problem? Well, I look at that two different ways. One, I've dealt with a lot of students over the 18 or so years that I've been teaching. And what I have found is that most investors who have educated themselves for a few weeks, a month or two, they know enough to get out there and start buying houses. But really, the problem is they're just afraid to take action. What you have to remember is that every seller, virtually every seller that you're talking to, knows a lot less than you do. If you've spent a few weeks immersing yourself in the topic. Okay. And don't be afraid to tell a seller, listen, that's a really good question. No one's ever asked me that before. Let me do just a little bit of research or speak to my partner, and I'll get back to you later this afternoon or tomorrow. Don't be afraid to say that. You can excuse yourself from that situation right then. Go check into it. If you've got a resource like a coach or a group that you're a part of or a local REIA, ask a few people what their opinion is on it, and then go back to the seller there. Don't let not enough knowledge keep you from talking to sellers and making deals. This morning, we did inside of our Sub2 Max coaching group, we have live seller calls where our students come in, they call some of their leads, they listen to me call ours. And we talked to a couple of people this morning that we, ultimately didn't make deals with, but had great conversations with them. They're in our follow-up system now, and we may not buy their house today, but we may buy it at some point in the future. Just because you can't make a deal with someone today doesn't mean you can't have a conversation. And it doesn't have to be ugly. You'd be surprised at the number of people you have to speak to find someone that will really be mean to you. It just doesn't happen that often. Now, if you're using contact methods like texting, where you're not actually having a conversation with someone in person, so to speak, you'll find that happens more often. It's easier to be rude if you're in a text or on Facebook in a post or something like that. But if you're actually taking the time to call somebody, have a conversation with them, be friendly, you'll find that happens just not too often. So, but back to this thing, the main reason is not having enough information to answer the seller's questions. That doesn't have to be a problem for you either. So what are some tips to help you overcome the fear of talking to a seller? Well, number one that I tell most people is just remember, sellers are just people too. We focus on people who have a house for sale. So Zillow, FSBOs are our main target. They do have a house for sale. There's no doubt. They've posted the information about the house. They've posted their phone number. They've literally said, I have a house for sale. Please call me. Now, they may not want to talk to an investor. They may not want to do creative finance. They may not be open to seller financing. They certainly may not be open to taking 2/3 of the retail value of the house in a cash offer, but you don't really know that until you have a conversation. I'll give you an example. On our seller call this morning, one of our students told us about a deal that she's doing right now that she had actually talked about last month. This was a brother and sister who had inherited a house, and the house was worth, in good condition, about $200,000 or a little more. The house did need updating. It was in very good condition, but the parents had owned it. They had never updated. It had the old shag carpet, light fixtures, and paneling, that sort of thing. But the house was in very good condition. They wanted $180,000 for it. She asked me what I thought, and I said, well, just make them a cash offer, and that's going to be around $120,000, $125,000. Well, guess what? Even in this hot market, those sellers agreed to her offer of $126,000. Now, what will it take to get that house in good shape and sell it? $20,000 maybe. So she's in it now for $145,000, $146,000. It's worth $200,000 plus. I mean, she stands to make a nice profit on that house. Remember, they have a house for sale. You can't prejudge what they'll take for it or the terms that they'll be open to until you have a conversation. So remember, they're just people too. If you call them, if you just be nice, ask a few questions about the property, find out what they're open to, you're probably going to be okay. So the next tip that I can give you on this, and let me just mention, we'll stop periodically and I'll take a look at the comments. If anyone has any questions, I'll be glad to answer those as we move along. In fact, let me just do that now. Okay, see if anyone has any questions. Okay, don't seem to have any right now. Just put those in the chat and I'll be glad to answer those as we move along. Okay, so the next tip that I can give you is when you make your call to them, focus on what they need. Okay, don't even make it about the house. All right, just have a conversation with them. We ask as few questions as possible because, like I said, we focus on Zillow listings. So we've already taken a look. We've seen the pictures. We pretty much know what they've got going on. Asking about the house is really just to develop some type of rapport with the seller, to get them to talking a little bit. But we try to find out pretty quickly, listen, this is a great looking house. Why are you selling it? I'm trying to focus on what their situation is. Are they having to move for a new job? Are they in the military? They've been transferred. They're getting a divorce. They can't make the house payments individually. Just a variety of reasons from all different types of sellers. So find out what they need and focus on that. Your education will come through at that point in how you can construct an offer or create a situation that gives them what they need and also lets you at the same time buy that house and make a profit. Monica had a question. Do you use real estate agents to assist with buys? No, as a rule, no. Now, as you become known in your area, and you can even target agents to do this, to assist you with, let me give you an example. There was something that was quite successful before COVID in the super hot market, and that was trying to find an agent to work with that understood investors. And if they had had a property that was on the market for an extended period of time that they couldn't move, maybe the sellers owed what it was worth, or they couldn't come out of pocket that much for a real estate agent, they would refer that lead to you. You could buy it and pay the agent. Now, that's not as successful these days with things being as hot as they are and houses going for, in a lot of cases, more than what their list price is. But you can use agents in those cases. Also, we will run into an agent from time to time that understands the business and what's going on. It's hard to find those agents because they really aren't trained to think creatively. But can you find them? Sure you can. Your best sources of those agents are going to be agents that are already in creative finance or wholesale Facebook groups. Maybe they're attending your REI that you go to, your local REI. And then you can just go through the list and give them a call. I can tell you from experience, it's probably not going to be your top producers. It's going to be newer real estate agents or just ones that are familiar with the market and how it works. Maybe they're investors themselves or something like that. So can you find agents to work with? Sure you can, but it is difficult to do. Okay, the next tip to overcome the fear of talking to sellers is, and we touched on this a little earlier, whether you're calling them, whether you're knocking on the door, however you're meeting with sellers, even texting, be personable, friendly, and nice always, no matter how the situation may go, whether they're rude to you or whatever the case may be. Just always be nice. It doesn't cost you anything to be nice. If you're on the phone and somebody gets nasty with you, you can always say, hey, it sounds like I'm catching you at a bad time, or we can't work together, however you put it. Have a great day. Best of luck with your house. Okay. You don't have to get nasty. I see this a lot in groups where someone will screenshot and post something, for example, hey, you got a house for sale. The seller comes back with something ugly, so they give it right back to the seller. You're a nasty, blah, 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 whatever. Don't ever go in that direction with it. It doesn't serve anyone. It's not going to help you. There's no way you're going to turn that conversation around. So just don't do it. Just be nice. Remember, it doesn't cost you anything to do it. And, it's just take the high road on that. Trust me. Don't be afraid to say, hey, Mr. Smith, I may not be your buyer. Okay. And if that's the way it is, if you're talking to someone and you find out that they're being transferred, the house is worth $250, they owe $230, it's really a no equity deal. You float the idea of seller financing or taking over payments, and they say, absolutely not. I've got to have all cash. That's the only way I'll sell. My response may be, well, Mr. Smith, you understand, we're buying this as an investment property. We're not going to live in it. We've got to have a little bit of room to make a profit here. Well, I don't care if you make a profit or not. All I can take is cash. Okay, fair enough, Mr. Smith. I totally understand you want cash for your house. You can't do anything else. The truth is I may, not be your buyer. Okay, but what I'm willing to do is be a resource for you. What are you going to do if the house doesn't sell? I mean, do you plan on renting it? What would be your plan B? Well, I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet. I expect the house to sell. Okay, well, I'll tell you what do you say that we stay in touch? And if it comes time for you to have to move and your house hasn't sold, then, maybe you might possibly change your mind. And I would love to, be there to be able to help at that time if that happens. Okay, but don't be afraid to do a takeaway on that. I may not be your buyer. Okay, I'd love to buy your house, but we have to be able to buy it in such a way that we can make a profit. And don't be afraid to say that either. It's not a secret to anyone that I buy a house from that I'm there to make a profit. It's not a charity. We don't just go out and do it because it's fun. I mean, it is fun in real estate. We have a good time, but we are here to make money too. Next, just be yourself. I know we touched on this a little bit earlier, but you can listen to other people. It seems to be pretty common now. There are a lot of places you can watch people dial sellers live and listen to them on the phone. But try to be yourself. I'll tell you, this reminds me, when I first got started teaching, like I said, about 18 years ago, I'm obviously from the South, and, people to the point where even my wife makes jokes about it. Okay. We do this little thing all the time. She's from Wisconsin and I'm from Mississippi. So, we sound a little bit differently, but I bought all of these books and tapes on how to sound different, how to change your voice. I mean, for example, if we're talking about a swimming pool, I say pool. My wife says pool. Okay, it's different. so I tried to learn how to sound different, and I did that for a while, and it was really a lot of work, and it was pretty frustrating. And eventually, I just said, you know what? I'm just going to be me. Anybody that's come to hear me, they're gonna get who I am. This is me. This is how I talk to people, and this is what I sound like. So you can't try to mimic another teacher or another investor. You can learn from them and learn negotiating techniques or tactics and things like that. But just be yourself when you're on the phone. Just be nice, be yourself. It's a lot easier. You don't have to concentrate on something that you should be doing. You're just you. Okay. And I think that comes through with most sellers as well. If you simply can't get past the fear, maybe you're that person that responded in the survey and said, I'm just too shy to talk to anybody. Okay, well, there are a few things that you can do, if you still want to be an investor, but you're afraid to talk to people. So think about focusing on other methods of acquisition. And we're going to list a few of those here for you. One is focus on inbound marketing. Okay. Outbound marketing, cold calling, things like that, door knocking. Those are some of the things we do. And it's the most effective, I'll tell you, because it's direct. I mean, you're not putting any kind of buffer between you and that seller at all. Okay. You're getting right in their face. You're calling them up. You're knocking on their door. You're making direct contact with those people. But there are some other things you can do that is, it's a little less stressful. Now, one is focusing on inbound stuff, and that's using bandit signs. Direct mail is another, pay-per-click and paid ads. The reason these are less stressful for the investor is because in all of these cases and others, the seller's calling you. And anytime the seller contacts you first, you're in a strength position there. They're contacting you. Okay, I saw your bandit sign. What do you do? How do you buy houses? They're on your turf. Okay, they picked up the phone. They took the steps to dial you. Chances are they're a little bit more motivated because they're reaching out to, when someone calls the We Buy Houses guys, In a lot of cases, they have a little bit of an idea. When somebody calls you from a sign that you put on the side of the road, or you've mailed them a postcard, you've told them a little bit about what you do, and they're interested enough to call you, you are in a stronger position. It's easier to talk to that seller from that place. And in my experience, chances are they're a little bit more motivated. Now, if you're really afraid, okay, of talking to other people, let someone else handle it. Use a realtor. I'll tell you, my best friend for years hated to talk to people. I mean, he was an introvert to the 10th power. And one of the things that he did to put himself between, or to put himself outside of that, having to talk to sellers, he used a realtor for everything that he bought. And he bought a lot of REOs and bank-owned properties and things like that. And your options for creative finance are going to be somewhat limited unless you train the realtor that you use to focus on people that haven't been able to sell and to make a very specific offer. But you can do that. That does work. In fact, an investor that I knew had created an entire model around using realtors. I mentioned that a little bit early when Monica asked if we use real estate agents. But there is an entire model around that, going after people who are motivated to sell and haven't been able to sell their house and perhaps owe as much as it's worth. And that does involve using a realtor. But if you're afraid to talk to people, you can either focus on REO properties, bank-owned properties, use a realtor to get you deals where people haven't been able to sell. You can hire an acquisitionist to do that. There are people that specifically reach out, take care of all the paperwork, process everything, where you never have to do any of it. Those people exist and they're out there. They're not cheap, okay? But if you have the ability, if you have the budget for that sort of thing, you can certainly hire those people to do that for you. You can partner with someone who's better at the face-to-face stuff. Maybe you don't like talking to sellers, but you have some cash for deals, or you have money for marketing. And maybe you know someone at your local REIA, or someone even across the country, because everything can be done virtually today. So partner with someone who loves cold calling, who loves knocking on the doors, who loves doing those things. And get those people to do that side, where maybe you do the paperwork, or you do the disposing of the property, or you provide the funds for down payment money and marketing costs and things like that. So that way you would never ever have to talk to a seller. But the most important thing is to find a way to get this stuff done. Remember, I've showed you a lot of ways here to either overcome your fear of talking to a seller, or to focus on inbound marketing, where you're in a much stronger position when you're talking to the seller, or if you just can't do it, to hire other people. But find a way to do that, because don't let being afraid of something keep you from living the life of your dreams, okay? Don't let your fear of having a conversation with someone who in a lot of cases needs your help keep you working at a job 60, 70 hours a week for, what you can make on one deal, one real estate deal, okay? So did we have any other questions today on, let's see, we'll here now. All right. I'm going to share with you guys again the free resources that we talked about earlier. Our website, sub2deals.com, where we have all kind of articles and can help you out with that. We've got the Sub2 Cool stuff. Get over there and download those 14 different free resources for you. It won't cost you anything. Just go over there, click on a couple of buttons, and you can get that stuff. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like I said, we deliver a lot of content there every month. And then the Sub2 podcast. Monica asked again, what main thing should a newbie do to get started? Well, the first thing I would tell you to do is educate yourself on whatever it is that you're wanting to do. Now, I'm not sure if you're new to real estate investing completely, if you're new to subject to or creative finance, if you think that's something that you want to do, you have to decide really what you like. Okay. Do you like dealing with sellers directly? Do you want to do something where you never really have to deal with a seller? You're brand new. So have you looked at wholesale? Because there's so many different ways to do real estate. You can do commercial real estate, where you can do multifamily apartments and that sort of thing, use a management company. So there's very little interaction. You've got to realistically look at your budget. What can you spend on marketing every single month? But you can certainly be a successful investor with $100 a month in marketing. You just have to think more about what you're spending your money on. You want to buy and hold and fix and flip. Okay, buy and hold, can that work with subject to and creative financing? Absolutely, it can. Fix and flip, that can work that way too. It's a little bit more difficult. But buy and hold, subject to is great for that. Whether you want to keep it as a rental or sell it with seller financing, which is what we focus on, fixing and flipping, you're probably going to need some access to funds, because even though you can buy fix and flip projects with subject to and creative finance, that generally takes care of the acquisition part, but you're going to need access to money for the fix up and then the flipping. So, look at what you got going on, your contacts. Do you have access to those funds to do the fix and flip and that sort of thing? Evaluate where you are financially, what you have the resources to do, and then educate yourself, really. YouTube has a lot of information to expose you to all the concepts and let you decide what looks attractive to you. Once you've done that and you've made a decision, then you probably want to look at some sort of course or coaching, because, YouTube's great, Facebook's great, but the truth is you just don't know who you're dealing with in a lot of these cases. So find a reputable teacher. That would be my advice, and follow them. Try to avoid well, thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. I'm glad we were able to help. But try to, avoid jumping from thing to thing. I'll tell you, when I got started, and I'm guilty of this too. I discovered this way to do things, and then a couple of months later, I'm like, wow, lease options look great. Maybe I can buy with lease options. And so I did that for a few months and bought 2 or 3 houses on sandwich lease options. And then I found subject to, and I said, okay, this looks great. So, but I stuck with that. That was my focus. Now, for the first 12 years, I did a variety of things. I was a transaction engineer, and that's great if that's what you want to do, but it is a lot of work. You're generating, your focus as a transaction engineer is to generate leads. And then when they come in, you sort them out. Okay, this is a house I can buy for 50 cents on the dollar. It needs work. It's a fix and flip. Or this is a wholesale deal. These people owe 95% of what the house is worth. It's in really good shape. It is a buy and seller finance or buy and lease option out. Okay. This is a house in a C neighborhood. It's probably not going to sell very quickly with seller finance, but I can buy it very inexpensively with a low payment. That's probably a good Section 8 rental. So it just really depends. You can be a transaction engineer, but what I found after 12 years of doing that was I really wanted to focus on things. And then I started focusing on buying nice houses in nice neighborhoods, targeting people who owed what the property was worth and had a situation. They were getting divorced, they got a job transfer, they lost their job, they were in foreclosure, that I could buy that house without a whole lot of money down and sell it with seller financing, collect a big down payment, monthly cash flow, and back in. So that's what we focused on now for over 10 years. And so we really specialized in what we do. But to get back to your question, learn enough about all the different ways. It sounds like you've zeroed in on some stuff. You want some buy and hold and fix and flip. So look for private lenders, try to develop your lines of credit. At Sub2 Cool Stuff, we've got a business plan. It's the same one that I used to get almost $500,000 in lines of credit from banks. Okay, so go over there, get that, do your business plan, do your projections on what you think you'll do volume-wise, how many houses that you'll buy. That looks really cool to take into your banker. They love that stuff. Whether it means anything, I don't know. I think they just look through it and say, oh, it's really colorful. It's nice. At least you're smart enough to put this together. Yeah, I'll give you some money. But go get that, and that'll help you out. And then just start generating marketing. Try to get sellers to call you. You're looking for specific houses. If you want to fix and flip, you're probably looking for vacant stuff, distressed stuff. You can pull those lists from tools like PropStream, or generate code enforcement lists for free, or pretty much free. They may charge you by the page at your local courthouse, but go take a look at that stuff. And then when you're ready, hire somebody to do some training with you. That's what I would do. So I want to thank everybody. If we don't have any other questions, thank everybody for joining us. If you want to learn more about the best creative finance and Sub-2 coaching on the planet, you can join our $7 coaching group. It's only $7 a month, and I'll answer your questions personally every week and do some training with you. And when you're ready, our premium coaching is Sub-2 Max. So you guys can go to these websites and check them out and see what you think. But I appreciate y'all coming in, and we'll be here on the first Saturday of every month to talk to you about creative finance, subject to, and answer all your questions. So I hope you guys have a fantastic Saturday, and we'll see you next time.